We are living in, answered prayers or even unasked for prayers. Unasked for, we are receiving so much. The feeling of entitlement is not a good feeling, because we are privileged to have a human form also, to have the abilities and the potential and opportunities that human life gives also. When we can acknowledge the order and the harmony that exists on this planet, in spite of how much we as a species or race put so much stress on the planet, yet it continued to take care like a unappreciated mother, This is God's way of providing for us. And we really show gratitude for that. We show gratitude for much smaller things and things that please our ego and person. But I can only encourage to say thanks. Thank you for life and for the opportunity of using a clear mind, of wishing to help others, or to at least have respect for them. And even though you may feel, oh, but I'm not seeing anything to be thankful for, that is only due to ignorance and blindness, in fact. This is why I once shared that perhaps one of the greatest mantra, greatest prayers is to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, even if you are not able to itemize any list of what you should be grateful for. Be grateful that you exist, even with your difficulties, because when seen from the right way, even present difficulties turn out to be hidden gifts for growing and for maturing and expanding in consciousness and in righteousness. So, an ungrateful heart and mind will struggle. It's as though you're working against yourself. And so, even this simple act of saying thank you, thank you, thank you, even if your mind is totally empty when you say that, keep on saying thank you. Thank you, as though there is an invisible friend that is always taking care of you in ways that you don't see immediately, but is taking care of your life until it's time to leave this body, and even after that is taken care. But the more conscious you are, and this life is really offering that opportunity, I feel, for intelligent existence, that the more you are aware of this, and the more you take that step of faith to say thank you existence, thank you God, thank you Spirit, thank you self, thank you consciousness, then gradually the separation that is in the mind of man between what we are and what the pure being, the pure self is, that sense of separation will stop widening and start to close. And then you come into a sense of harmony more and more. It's a mystery. I can't put it down on a blackboard for you, but I will tell you that you will know it experientially. You'll feel how much lighter your life is, and the mind becomes much more peaceful and open and kind and less afraid. Keep going, keep coming. Keep losing the heavy luggage of ego and personhood and perceiving life too personally, through personal eyes, personalizing the senses, personalizing the body too much. Simply start by saying thank you to existence. I'm here, I'm healthy right now, and even if I'm not healthy, if the body's not so healthy, Hmm? Thank you that still I'm able to hear words like this inside my heart and to feel a sense of their magnitude of what they point to as the spirit of truth and what I truly am in myself. So, thank you. Thank you. As we develop and become more mature, this mind influence lessens, it drops away, and you come back into the fullness, the full height of your real self, where there's joy and peace and love, and consciousness is your reality, you know? So we must not pay so much attention. In the beginning, because we are a little bit intoxicated with and become toxic with negativity, we are very selfish. We only think of ourself as a personal self in this body. It's very selfish, it's very selfish rather than selfless. And so we'll find it very inconvenient. The truth will feel inconvenient. You see, we turn away always to serve the small person in ourselves. But this is really out. I hope this is in the early stages, when we are in the early steps into spiritual awakening. Follow my words and my invitation to become more aware of this. The more you learn spiritually in the true way, it's not that you are amassing knowledge, storing up knowledge. It's more that truth creates more space in you. Truth creates less solid, stiff, what you may call contractions in your being. It frees you up, makes you feel light and open and bright, you see? So these are signs that you should wonder. So don't think that you're studying in the way that we say study at school or university to have things that you have to remember in your head. No, real knowledge is really that you experience. It's experiential knowledge. And as your heart opens, real knowledge also comes with faith and trust and with experience. As you begin to experience the fruit of your endeavors, fruit of your looking, you see a deeper, a fuller world, a wider world is opening up inside you. And the world within you, so to speak, within yourself as consciousness, is much greater than the physical world, you know, the physical universe. The inner spiritual universe is much greater than the physical universe. We could go around for many, many thousands of years. You cannot fill the physical universe. Can you imagine what I mean by the spiritual universe? But it works by different laws, because physical universe, you have to physically, if I want to go there, I must walk and go over here. You see, I must use effort. But in what I mean by spiritual universe, you are not like the consciousness trapped in the body, the size of your body. You start to see that your body is actually inside your consciousness. And the consciousness is it may seem expanding, but it's because actually it's infinite. It's just that you're growing back into your understanding feels like it's expanding in understanding, you see. So that the consciousness is expanding. But actually, as much as it can expand, there's always more. And why am I saying this? To give you some encouragement, because sometimes our lives can become so tight. You live in a very tiny world. You could live in a very big house, but your life is so tiny. You live in a big city, but your life is so tiny. You come from a big country, millions and millions of people, but your life is so tiny. It's tiny because your mind is enslaved by negative thinking and by wrong concept. And what I mean by spirituality is that experience, that grace that comes to open you up, to take your limiting walls away and to release you back into your space. And the infinite space of self will not feel just infinite, like, whoa, I'm being spread thin. It's like everywhere you are there. Everywhere you go, you are there. You see? I hope this doesn't feel too much for you, but more that you, it's not about qualitative changes or quantitative, not quantity of change, but quality of change. So I want you to just be at least open to this. The first step in spirituality is to be a bit willing to be open so that you can find the space that is greater than your mind is presenting. We have all had a period of time in our life when we study something, Even your career may have been, and may have started out of your study, what you become good at. So from childhood, we are learning. Is put before us to learn something, to eventually discover perhaps a particular subject that is appealing to you. We're always learning and studying, discovering how the world works, how certain kind of instruments or tools and, like this, to serve our ideas, our inclinations, what we feel we are attracted to. But for many of you, life has brought you here. To myself, we have come to meet. And I myself am asking you, now you've studied so many things in life. Not everything, nobody can study everything. Now I ask you to study yourself. What does it mean? Of course, it's easy if I say, study a little bit about this land or about the water flow or about this, the seasons or so on, or about some instrument. Because you take yourself to be the one who is doing the studying, and you're in some way engaged with some objective pursuit to understand something, to gain more skill, to be able to make use of your knowledge for some outcome. But you have come in search of truth. So I don't send you out, go and study the hill, study the water, study the fire anymore. Say, study yourself. What it mean? How to study yourself? Is it one self studying another self? Is it a lower self studying, or learning about, observing, discovering a higher self? So how does one begin, And of course, for many of you who have been following satsang for a time, I don't feel that this question is out of place again. To refresh your looking, how does one study oneself? What is the oneself? Body you can study. I think there's a name for that. Human biology or medicine, you can study about the body and the body's system and function. You can study about the prana, the vital breath. You can study about your blood type. But these are not the one who is observing them. And then you say you can study your character, how you observe your character, how do you, when the ancient ones have said, know thyself, what are they speaking about? What is this self to know? And who will know it? Is it something apart from the self that will know it? Is it another self to know oneself knowing another self? Is it like that? Well, if we put it to the mind and we are thinking like that, then of course it will feel, whoa, it gets confusing. Who is studying who, or what is studying what? But at all times you'll have a natural sense of your own being. So let's start there. What is that? If all the people on the earth vanished, you would know that you're still here. If all the thoughts that could come in the mind came and went, it would be you who observed them. Again, if all the thoughts, all the concepts that were perceivable would arise through your being in your mind, they would be noticed by something. That which notices them, is it the same as them? Well, we can look a bit more deeply. We may say, no, it cannot be the same. The one who is witnessing them, is this one also witnessable? That seemed to create some strange warp in the mind. Like, can the one who is seeing everything else, can this one be seen? Is there a one? And you're asked to look. And you know what? Just about that time, some laziness start to come up inside, some sort of resistance, some sort of justification of why we doing all this thing. We know who we are already and all of this stuff. So you're appointed, you can observe this also. Even the resistances that's coming up to the question is also noticeable. The one who appears to be resisting, is that really ourself? Is that really you? How close is it? How close? If I say, come close, we get very close, even centimeters close. When we touch, are we one even? Even if two things come together and they merge together, even their merging is also observed. So the point is not what you're seeing forward, but that whatever happens, it is perceived. And that which is perceiving it, where is that? Where is its location? Can it be said to be behind or in front or to the side or above or outside or inside even? So for this you must sit. And when I say sit, I simply mean be quiet with this. Can anything that you perceive, that you can say is studyable, meaning that you can observe it, its quality, its nature, its character, its weight, its size, its design, all of these things. But all of these are perceived also. From where does even the perceiving of them, even the perceiving of them is also, can we say also perceived also? The very act of perceiving is also, there's an awareness of this. Look what is happening. Even the sense of yourself in memory, the very archiving of one's history and the sense of your place in the world, there's an awareness even of that. What does it mean? It means that at the place of awareness, does awareness have any content? Our memory, our identity has content. But that which is aware of content, does that have any content? And who can receive this question? Is it a person? When even the person is perceivable? So these are the questions that come with the quest for awakening to the real. And I want to tell you ahead of time, no objective answer will satisfy you. It cannot be seen. That which perceives all things itself cannot be perceived. But I'm going to go subtler still. The mind itself is the first one to stand in the witness box to say, all these things I can perceive. All these things I can perceive. All that has shape and size and quality, it is I who perceive them. Time and change, it is I who perceive them. But then we say, isn't mind also perceived? And if mind is also perceived, what is it that is perceiving them? I don't want a word or a conceptual answer. I want the question to become like a searchlight, scanning to see if an entity can be found as the witness of anything, you see. So that's one of the pathways of self-awareness, leads to self-awareness. You may just find that somehow all the questions just seem to nullify, or they just evaporate or disappear. And what is left is really nameless and shapeless. And curiously, is self-aware, a sort of self-awareness field. This kind of introspection also grows inside its own power. It becomes more acute, much more tight and powerful. But all of it leading into a spaciousness, an intelligence, a deeper than a state, because states are also perceived, you see. And now someone may ask, well, what's the benefit of this, you see? And such a question can only come from the one, again, who wants to have some benefit. As you proceed in your inquiry, in your devotion, in your surrender. You are tasting the fruit of that surrender. And you will see along the steps, each step, you will realize, whoa, 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 I need to go more deeply. And it's not a trap, it's a freedom. The trap is behind what you're leaving, but you're moving more, again, so to speak, back into your natural state. And you will not need someone to tell you this is natural. You see, just like if you are the only person around, if you're sick, you don't need someone else to tell you you're sick. You will know it. When you're happy, you don't need to know, am I happy? You know. And they're the same way. When you are free from the clutter of conceptual noise, you know it. And you know that it is natural. So, thank you.